welcome back to yoga with me, Antonia. We're going to do about a 20 to 25 minute practice, focusing a little bit on balance today. So if you want to start, we'll start in tabletop. So coming down onto your hands and knees. Hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. We're just first going to invite a few cat-cow mobility moves into this practice. So dropping the belly, gaze up towards the ceiling and just release through the tailbone. And then as you exhale, rounding through the spine, dropping the crown of the head down towards the mat. Inhale, coming the other way, dropping the belly, gaze up. Big breath in and then exhale, rounding through the spine. You can do this with your own breath. Working with your own breath. And then coming to find extension through the spine, a nice flat back. Sucking the belly button up towards the spine. So that's all nice and activated. Keeping a nice long spine all the way from the crown of the head out towards the tailbone. And then you're going to walk your feet back just a little bit and come onto the balls of the feet, finding a plank position. Keeping a nice strong core here as you hold this maybe for another 2 breaths. Big inhale, pushing the floor away with your hands, really grounding down through the knuckles. Exhale, another big breath in. And we're going to find high to low plank, so coming through a chaturanga, bending the knees if you need to, but coming down in one big long line all the way from the crown of the head down towards the heels or down towards the knees if you were doing it on your knees. As you inhale, draw the lower ribs forwards, firm up the leg, squeeze through the glutes and push the pubic bone down towards the ground, finding length through the neck. And then as you exhale, pushing up and back, we're going to find downward facing dog. So tucking the toes and sitting your bum up and back into downward facing dog, relaxing through the neck, drawing down through your heels and through your hands. Your heels don't need to be onto the mat, but just have the feeling of them drawing down away from you towards the mat, finding length through the spine. Another big breath in and breath out. On an inhale, lifting the left toes, the left foot all the way up to the ceiling. So we're finding 3-legged downward facing dog. And then just open up the hip here, maybe bending through that knee, drawing the left heel towards the glutes. And then finding again length through the leg, squaring off the hips, finding your 3-leg downward dog. Big inhale, big exhale. On your next inhale, you're going to bring that knee towards your left elbow. Make it touch, come through your plank, and then send it back up into 3-leg downward dog. This time, bring the knee across to the other elbow, to your right elbow. Make it touch, squeeze through your abdominals, send it back up. And this time, as you inhale, bring it through and step the foot in between the hands or towards the top of the mat. Help it through the hand if you need to. Coming to find a high lunge. We're going to inhale, lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Squeeze through your glutes. You'll start to feel this opening through the right hip flexor. Reaching the hands up towards the sky. I'm just going to turn to face you. Taking hold of your right wrist, inhale, and then leaning over towards the left. You might start to feel this increase down into that hip flexor a little bit more, maybe even to the side of your body. Should feel like a beautiful stretch. Bit of balance as well. And then as you exhale, you're going to find warrior 2, with your hips now facing the long side of the mat, the right side of the mat. Squeeze through your glutes, really track open with this front knee. So it's tracking open towards the other side of the mat. Drop your shoulders down your back. On an inhale, reach the left fingertips forwards And then find your sun warrior or reverse warrior. Squeeze through your glutes. And then on an exhale, windmill the hands either side of the front foot and then step back to downward facing dog. Big breath in, big breath out. On your next inhale, reaching the right toes up towards the ceiling. So 3-legged downward facing dog, and then bend through the knee and open up the hips. Ooh. Should feel pretty juicy in your hips, this one. Inhale, lengthen through that leg again, square off your hips into 3-leg downward dog. And then on your next inhale, bring that knee towards your right elbow. Make it touch, squeeze through your abdominals, send it back up. This time you're going to bring it across the body. Inhale, make it touch your left elbow, and then send it back up. And this time step it through in between your hands. We're going to find high lunge facing the top of the mat. Squeeze through your glutes, draw back, drive back through that back heel. Squeeze the glutes. This time taking hold of your left wrist. Inhale and take a little lean over towards the right. Can you drop down into your hips a little bit more? Finding length through the lower back. Another big breath in here. And then as you exhale, find warrior two. Big breath in and a big breath out. Inhale, reach the right fingertips forward and find reverse warrior. Make sure you're tracking your knee open so it's not caving in towards the left side of the mat. It's tracking open towards the right side. Squeeze through the glutes. Really reaching the hand away from you. And then as you exhale, windmilling the hands either side of the front foot. Step back to downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, float your chest forward, coming to find your plank. Hold for a big breath in. And then exhale, drop the knees, bend the elbows. They point back towards the back of the room. Inhale, draw your shoulders away from your ears, finding length through your spine. And then exhale, push yourself up and back to downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. And then you're going to lift your left toes up. Inhale, 3-legged downward dog. And this time step it straight through into a low lunge this time. You can pad out your back knee if you want to by rolling up the side of the mat. I'm going to hold for a breath in here. And breath out. And then slowly start to walk your hands back towards your body or even under your shoulders as you lengthen out through the front leg, through your left leg. Finding a half split sort of splits prep. Finding length through your spine. And then in this pose, just draw the front heel away from you as you flex through the toes. You should start to feel this in a slightly different place. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And then just focusing in on your hips, make sure your left hip is drawing back in space, your right hip forward. So we're not opening out or doing anything squiffy with the hips here. They're staying neutral, facing towards the top of the mat. Another big breath in. Ooh, can feel quite intense. And then exhale, keep walking your hands up as you come to balance on your shin. So you're kneeling up with that left leg out straight still and you're kneeling on your right shin. Lovely. You can start to slide that front foot in a little bit and come up onto the ball of the foot or even the toe. So we're having a little balance here. Squeeze through your glutes and then taking your arms out wherever you need to get some balance, focusing in on something in front of you, and you're just going to lift the toes up on that front leg. It's pretty tricky. Don't beat yourself up about it if it's not happening, but just breathe for a few moments and then bring that shin onto the floor as well. So you're sitting up nice and tall on your shins. Roll your shoulders back, squeeze through your glutes, and then imagine you're just popping your fingers into your back pockets. If you were wearing jeans, you're just sliding them into your back pockets. Squeeze your glutes, and then imagine you've got a wall in front of you and you don't want your hips to leave that wall. They're going to stay pushed against that wall. You're going to roll your shoulders back, squeeze the glutes. I know I keep saying it, but it's easy to forget them. Drawing the heart up as you start to lift your heart up, rolling your shoulders back, squeezing through your glutes, coming into a little camel pose. You can drop the neck back, your head back if you like, but only if you can keep breathing in that pose. Maybe even keep talking. Imagine you would be able to keep talking if you dropped your head back. I'm going to keep my chin towards my chest. Hold for another breath, lift your heart, and then exhale, come to sit on your knees. Place your hands on your lap, just close down the eyes for a moment. Take another big breath in. And a big breath out. And then walk your hands forward, blink your eyes open, and just find again your downward facing dog. You can walk through your feet here if that feels good, driving one heel down towards the ground and then the other. And then on an inhale, reaching the right toes up towards the ceiling, find your 3-leg downward dog, and then step that foot through into a low lunge. Place the back knee down onto the mat. Relaxing your head and neck here. And then start to walk your hands back, lengthening through the right leg. You can have this foot pointed or just relaxed for a moment. Your hands might come back right underneath your shoulders, or you might have them quite far forward, but just finding length through your spine. Feeling the pretty intense stretch down the back of the front leg, and then drawing the right hip back in space, the left hip forward. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then slowly start to walk those hands up a little bit more. Coming to stand up on your shin, on your left shin, and then bring that foot in just onto the toes. So you're bending through that right leg and just balancing it onto the ball of the feet or onto the toe. And then again, we're going to try and find our balance here, and it's probably likely that there's one side that you're kind of okay at, and maybe one side that just feels a little bit more tricky. But just try and find your balance. Focus on that point in front of you that's not moving. Lovely. And then coming to bring that shin in, sitting down onto your heels. Just walk your hands forward. We're going to find child's pose, bringing the forehead down to the mat. Maybe even bring one hand under the other and just rest your forehead. Whatever you prefer. You might even want to bring your hands either side of your legs if this feels good. Just a few moments. Focusing in on your breath. And then slowly on an inhale, coming up to your tabletop and then tucking the toes, find your downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, bend both knees, look towards your hands, and you're going to make your way to the top of your mat, hanging heavy in forward fold. So your feet can be together or hip distance apart, your preference. But just really relax through the back of the neck. Allow the shoulders and the upper body to fully relax. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Feel the breath moving up and down your spine. On an inhale, you're going to find a halfway lift. So draw your fingers up your shins, maybe even up your thighs. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, finding length through the spine. Energy out through the crown of the head. Energy out through your tailbone. So you just imagine a thread straight out from your crown of your head through down towards your tailbone, and it's completely straight. On an exhale, find again your forward fold. Maybe you want to give a big bend into your knees here, or maybe even want to find a little bit of length through the back of your legs, feeling more into your hamstrings. On your next inhale, we're going to find chair pose. So dropping the bum as you lift your chest up. Having a natural little curve through that lower spine, but it's not exaggerated, so you're not pushing your bum out here. Is again finding that length through the spine. Squeeze through your glutes. If it's not comfortable to have your arms overhead, maybe you want to bring a bend into the elbows, have them more like goalpost arms, or bring your hands towards your heart center. Give another big breath in here. And a big breath out. On your next inhale, as you rise up, lift your right knee in towards your chest. And then take a hold of it. Squeeze it in. Finding something in front of you that's not moving. So you can focus on that through this balance. Lovely. Loose go of your knee. Try and keep it squeezed in. Maybe bring your hands onto your hips or out to the side for balance. Excuse me. And then take it up and over that standing leg and just hook it around. And maybe even want to try and hook those toes behind your calf, but it might not happen, that's okay. But just feel the squeeze, that kind of rinsing effect as you wrap that top leg over. Then bring your arms out in front of you. You're going to take your right arm under your left, cross at the elbow, and then cross again at the wrists. Oh, feeling that beautiful stretch across your shoulders. If this is too much, just give yourself a hug here and draw your shoulders forward. Oh, hold for another big breath in here. And a big breath out, and then unravel yourself. Bring that knee back up to your chest, and then allow it to float down as you float your hands down. Good little balance sequence. Inhale, both hands up towards the sky, and then fold forwards over your legs. Big breath in, breath out. On your next inhale, draw your fingers up your shins, find your halfway lift. And then exhale, float your hands down towards the mat, step back to a plank. Hold for a breath in. Nice long line all the way from the crown of the head down towards your heels. And then find your high to low plank with or without your knees on the mat. And just as your elbows graze past your ribs, you can find baby cobra or upward facing dog. If you find upward facing dog, really push through your hands and the top of your toes, so your knees might start to lift. Ooh, and then exhale, find downward facing dog. Big breath in, big breath out. Bend your knees, look toward your hands, and step, hop or jump all the way to the top of the mat, finding your forward fold. Feet either hip distance or together, it's your preference. Relax through the back of the neck. On an inhale, find your halfway lift. And again, forward fold. Bend your knees, sit your bum back and find chair pose. If your feet are together, really squeeze your legs together. If your feet are hip distance apart, just firm up your legs, but try not to squeeze your legs together because your knees will turn in on themselves. Squeeze and maybe drop your hips a little bit more. And then on your next inhale, reaching your right knee up to your chest, give it a squeeze. Big breath in and a big breath out. Find that point in front of you that's not moving, which isn't me, because I'm wobbling about all over the place. So find something to focus on, and then just loose go of your knee and keep it into your chest. And then take the leg up and over across and wrap it around that supporting leg. Maybe wrap the toes as well if you can. And squeeze the legs together. Take your arms out in front of you. Take your left arm underneath the right. Wrap at the elbows, wrap at the wrists. Or you can take hold of opposite elbows, shoulders if you like. Breathe and rinse, squeeze. Oh, another big breath in. And breath out, and then on your next inhale, reach the knee back up and then float the foot back down onto the mat. Big breath in, reach the hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find your plank pose and hold for a big breath in here. Exhale, chaturanga, high to low plank. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, push your seat towards your heels, finding child's pose. Arms out in front of you, or place one hand on top of the other and find your steady breath. On your next inhale, just floating back up to all fours. And then come to sit down on your heels, coming to kneel. If this isn't comfortable, you can come to sit on your bum instead. Hands onto your thighs, palms up or palms down, your preference. Nice long spine. We're going to take 3 breaths all together to close the class. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. Exhale everything from your lungs. Big breath in through the nose. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. This time as you inhale, float the hands above your head. Big inhale. Bring your hands to touch and bring them through to heart center as you exhale. Just gazing down towards your fingertips. And then give yourself a little pat on the back for committing to a practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's really lovely to have you here doing practices in your own time. I always think sometimes it's much better to do a 5, 10, 20-minute practice every day rather than just doing 1 hour-long practice a week. So it's really good that you're staying on top of it, and I hope to see you in more classes.